Look, what can I say? What can I say except I love to see it? Ritualist is here. We have got F skills that are baseline to the class. Might and Fury, Random Fear, and look at that. 5 stacks of stability, Resistance and Aegis baked into the spec. Okay, we've got Vigor, we've got Condia removal, we've got a million debilitating effects. I don't know what to tell you guys. Okay, ArenaNet's gone crazy. They've unleashed hard with the Ritualist. Splinter Weapon is back. Zinray's Weapon is back. Unique Modifier AoE Block is back. Well, I'm not sure if that was ever here to begin with, but we've got Quickness DPS. We've got some crazy ass traits going on here. I've leaked the entire thing because this is just looking crazy. Ritualist is absolutely insane. It's Necromancer. Get ready to log in. That's all I can tell you. Get ready to log in right now, guys. Get me away from this Paragon filth. Show me a real class. Here we go. Ritualist. All right, let's get down to business. So, how does this work? And we've got a couple of surprises here. So let's talk about what's being moused over here. So the initial assumption, I was assuming that we would simply be getting an F1. And we'd be getting those extra skills that summon the spirits and do some other stuff with them as well. But a little bit of a surprise here, guys. There are 2 components to the profession mechanic for the Ritualist. First is that Shroud that we can see here, the F1. But here's the thing. We actually have 3 extra spells for the F2, the F3, and the F4, which basically are a special ability that lets you detonate your spirit. So you've got Anguish, Preservation, and Wanderlust, and you get really powerful effects for detonating those spirits early. And additionally, that actually happens when you leave Shroud automatically, right? So even if you don't press the button, if you leave Shroud and got knocked out of Shroud, you'll get that effect anyway. As long as it's available, right? It does have a cooldown, so obviously it won't activate if you don't have that ability available to you as of yet. And yeah, as we saw, these effects are in fact very, very potent. Rupture Anguish is going to give some damage, and then AoE Might and Fury. Rupture Wanderlust is going to give you an AoE Fear as well. So that's how that one goes. And then look at this one. Rupture Preservation is going to give AoE 5 stacks of stability, resistance, and Aegis baked into your class mechanic. Woof! Okay. That is pretty damn good. Okay, that's a strong start, guys. And bear in mind, like, this is the situation. 1, this is with no boon duration. 2, this is going to fit right in with the support package that Necro has with Blood Magic, right? With Transfusion now, for even more stability access, more boon application, all that kind of good stuff, like the prot output. It's all going to be there. So yeah, we're looking juicy here, as you can see. And now we're going into the Shroud, and we know how this one works. Basically, your 2, 3, and 4 skills are going to summon up those spirits, and your auto attack is a pretty basic ranged auto attack. The more spirits you've got up, the more damage your auto attack does, which is a pretty cool little interaction. But yeah, number 2 is going to be the Spirit of Anguish. You can see it summoned, then it sends a barrage of projectiles at your opponent, and then it will just do little auto attacks. These spirits, by the way, are not targetable, right? They cannot be killed by your opponents or targeted in any way. So once these spirits are up, they are up. It really is that simple. And they will continue to blast. They won't move on their own, but as we're about to see, there are ways to actually move them, as you can see here. So yeah, Anguish is going to apply Cripple and Vulnerability, and it also applies this little debuff called Painful Bond. So in other words, the target that gets hit by your Anguish is also going to take more damage from your other little summoned minions too, right? In addition to, this thing also does more damage to enemies that have CC as well. You can see that effect from the Painful Bond gets applied, so it's taking more damage from summons. Then that effect kind of goes away after a little while there. And in general, yeah, this thing does more damage to targets depending on how many conditions are up on it. And also, if it's CC'd or something, which again will always apply on bosses. Oh, I guess I kind of got ahead of myself for a little bit. It should be worth noting that this is a power spec. So for DPS, it's going to be power, and then it also is going to have a very heavy focus on having some support attached to it, because bear in mind, even if you're playing full DPS, you're always going to have those support elements, which is a powerful thing. That's why Firebrand is nice. That's why, stuff like Herald ends up being really good. That's why Scourge is good, because you have that support kind of baked into your toolkit for free that you can always use. Just think about this, guys. This is actually crazier than Stand Your Ground, because any Guardian build like DPS or heal is going to have Stand Your Ground. Any Ritualist has a spell that is sometimes better than Stand Your Ground, built into the kit with no utility skill commitment. I say situational because it is a smaller radius than Stand Your Ground, but that's the only thing that's weaker about it. Because this ability gives resistance and Aegis too. So it is crazy strong how good the base kit of the Ritualist is. And there's the Anguish Spirit being summoned again, firing off its little projectiles. Let's get over to the, there's the auto attack, the Essence Blast. Here's the Wanderlust about to be popped here. So here we go. Boom. And you can see what the Wanderlust does. It just smashes down, does a little CC, and then pulses AoE damage. And you can see here, yeah, the Essence Blast does more damage depending on how many spirits you've got. All the spirits also attack there. You can see they're all activated there. They're all just firing the little projectiles onto the target. Yeah, the F4 is instant cast. You do need to have the spirit summoned, to be fair, so there is setup, so that's another kind of situational disadvantage, but the effect is obviously really, really strong. But yeah, let's go ahead and have a look at the Wanderlust here. So the way the Wanderlust works is that you summon it, and then it does a daze, right? Like you have a damage and a little daze effect, and then the spirit itself is going to pop up and get this little pulsing field down that chills, then applies Vuln, then weakness, then slow. So it's like a pulsing, aggressive damage effect there as well. And the initial summon of the spirit is also a knockdown. So if you get caught by that, it is nasty as hell, right? So you're going to get knocked down, then have a bunch of like horrible condis added to you in an AoE, as you can see there from the Wanderlust. And of course, the detonate effect on that, like detonating the spirit, is a fear too. So this is a very heavy control tool in your toolkit. You can see the knockdown there, and then boom, the detonation fears everything around where the spirit was. This is like a ranged fear, a bit like Scourge in a way. Boom, you can see that. Yeah, the joy of cooldown hack. Imagine we had this in the game, huh? It'd be crazy. Oh, yeah, that's another good point too. I should have talked about the way the spirits worked already. So here's how the spirits work. The spirits will actually linger as long as you're in Shroud. And that does potentially mean you can even re-summon them if you're in Shroud for a very long time. Particularly because when you summon a spirit, you can see they're actually gaining life force. That's a trait that we'll obviously see later. So yeah, you do actually have the ability to stay in here for a long time. Of course, you can be knocked out by damage, so be aware of that. But whenever you summon the same spirit again, it will basically auto-detonate it. You can see the detonate effect happening when the Wanderlust is being summoned. That will be relevant for a Guild Wars 1 favorite trait that's coming back as well. That we'll get into later. Look, we're setting up the teasers here. But as you can see, really cool interactions. Like that rupture mechanic, that detonate mechanic, actually kind of bringing some interesting flavor and kind of dynamic gameplay to utilizing these spirits as opposed to just having them kind of like one and done passives, right? And the final spirit is Preservation. So you're going to gain Prot and Vigor, as you can see there. And the Preservation spirit is going to do a massive AoE heal. A 5k AoE heal around the spirit, and 4 conditions removed too. Really, really powerful. So you can see the initial effect there, the Ritualist, you give Prot, and then of course, look at that Rupture effect. Let's just have a look at that again. So we get this big heal, pow, 5k, and then the Rupture comes through, leaving Shroud. Again, it's automatically triggered by leaving Shroud. And then you have that very tasty stability, resistance, and Aegis being applied to those golems there. And that is just, I mean, that's a crazy good skill. It does have the setup time. You're going to have to use it intelligently, obviously, but the effect is pretty awe-inspiring, honestly. It's going to just, like, immediately give incredibly strong effects. The radius isn't massive on this, to be fair. The Ritualist abilities are only 300. And as you can see here, the other demo, look, it's actually healing too. The Preservation Spirit, it's like auto-attacking the allies here too. And I believe that would work too. Let's say it's targeting a boss, it will actually hit the boss and do like an AoE splash heal too. Very similar to the Elementalist staff auto-attack, right? And you stuff like Druid Beam, right? You can kind of attack stuff with the Druid Beam and still heal allies too. But as you can see there, you can see the healers going off. Oh yeah, important note here too. When you summon the spirit, it will actually heal you in Shroud as well. We can kind of see a demo of this effect here. Boom, you can see the Necromancer health going up to 9k there. This is specifically coded to work that way because it would be kind of weird if it didn't heal you. Of course, the spirit's auto attacks aren't healing the Necromancer, but they are healing those golems too. So very, very potent support tool. And this is important, by the way, guys. Okay, let's talk about why this is important. This is going to very heavily synergize with the Necro support kit. Like, heal Necro builds are weird because Necro doesn't really have baseline support attached to its kit. This does. And of course, it fits right into Transfusion. Because guess what? Your Spirit of Preservation will now trigger a Chillblains, which is going to give more prot. The burst heal on this is going to be insane. When you pop this, because you're going to get that guaranteed heal from the Preservation Spirit, then you're going to get the Chillblains prop from Transfusion, and you haven't even used any staff skills yet. You haven't even used those guys. They're still there, right? And you're just going to get crazy output from this build, I think. Really good boons, big heals. It's a good time. It is a very good time, guys. And what's the 5th skill? Oh, look, I bet you were thinking, man, but what if the spirits don't follow me? They can't move. Well, good news. In a crazy turn of events here, Necro is getting a teleport spell. No, the dev is not hacking here. That is actually what the spell does. Obviously, it has a cooldown. We're using cooldown hack here. But the 5th skill in Shroud is Summon Spirits, and this is just an incredibly powerful ability for Necromancer to have. Right? This is a teleport, and it also brings your spirits with you, too. This allows you to reposition effectively, not only with yourself, but also with your spirits. Let me just quickly check what the cooldown is. On Summon Spirits, it's 20 seconds, so it's a pretty long cooldown, but again, any kind of mobility on Necro is very, very welcome. And the spirits will follow you. And any spirits that currently aren't using their skill will immediately use their auto attack, too. So you can almost, like, coordinate like a little spike on your targets by pulling your spirits around, following you. So that's pretty cool too. Okay, so we're on to a winner already. We've had a very, very strong start, but we are not done yet because we have got the utility skills to talk about. And these are, well, they were described as venoms, basically, and I'm not gonna lie, that's basically what they are. They're kind of like weapons or stance share, basically, because they're unique modifiers, okay? Look, we're back on unique mods now, that you apply to your allies. The Necromancer gets a really strong effect, and then, unless you take a Grandmaster trait, the allies get a lesser version. So first up is the Resilient Weapon. And, oof, this is such a good ability. Because bear in mind, like, you are going to want you're not playing Scourge, so you can't, you could use Well of Blood, obviously, if you want the res, but this spell is also really powerful. Take reduced damage from strikes and periodically heal. Effectiveness increased while below 50% HP. Grant this to nearby allies for a reduced duration. So on you, it's 6 seconds. On allies, it's 3. It's 10% damage reduction or 20% below 50% HP, and it heals for 1.4k a second. And again, that's without gear or healing mods, basically. And the healing is 50% increased below 50% health as well. This is actually very, very good, especially because you're going to have healing power, you're going to have healing modifiers, and you do have the option as well with the Grandmaster trait to actually give the full effect of all of your weapon spells to nearby allies. And 20% damage reduction is a big deal here as well, by the way. Even 10% is very nice because, you're going to have protection up, you're going to have damage reduction food, another 10% from this is very, very good to be able to do that, especially if your allies are pressured. You're going to give them 20% damage reduction. That is a huge deal. Like, you can be 100% saving people in every game mode, 100% from power damage, PvP, world versus world, raid fights as well. That's going to be very relevant. And the healing is going to be crazy. Like, if you just took a massive hit, your group took a massive hit, you pop Resilient Weapon, and everyone's going to get juiced back up to full health incredibly quickly. Wow. Very, very strong. And relatively short cooldown as well. This is a very strong effect. The only thing about this is that you can't do double well of blood, but you can still take the trait. That's the thing. You can still take the blood magic res trait, which is, again, going to be a really nice thing that you can just package into this build. Like, I really think, this is my conspiracy theory, my tinfoil hat theory. I'm pretty sure they were thinking about this spec when they did a lot of the Necro blood magic reworks and like the support reworks. They were thinking, ah, yes, transfusion. It's going to fit perfectly in with Ritualist in Visions of Eternity. Because, man, it makes a lot of sense with transfusion in Visions of Eternity. Next up, I mean, look, could this get any more cinema, guys? Could this actually get any more cinema? I'm not sure. I don't think it can. Splinter Weapon. It's back. The most iconic weapon spell in all of Guild Wars 1 has graced us with its presence here in Guild Wars 2. Your strikes will trigger an additional strike on nearby enemies. Allies receive fewer stacks of this. So you get 5 stacks and your allies get 3. This is kind of juiced, man. Okay? Because this is going to be turbo burst. Holy. Not only could this potentially be a nice DPS increase in PvE, think about this in competitive or world versus world. Imagine you're doing like a massive well bomb, right? In world versus world. And you've got a Ritualist in like multiple subgroups. You pop Splinter Weapon, get the well bomb going, and you've just got this crazy AoE spike. And, you know, this is going to potentially scale with power damage too, right, guys? Like, you got a bit of power on you. Maybe you're playing Celestial, or something, maybe you're a DPS build even. Like, oh my god. This could be really, really terrifying, and really, really fun to use at the same time. So, yeah, pretty hype. Big burst damage with the Splinter Weapon there. So, yeah, really powerful, really cool effect. Weapon of Remedy. Periodically remove conditions. Healing for each condition removed. Grant this to nearby allies for a reduced duration. So this one, I would say one of the less exciting ones. Now, it might be a little bit more interesting because you don't have the raw condition removal of, say, a Scourge. Like, Scourge, like, melts conditions like nobody's business. And you might need a little bit of help with this, actually, and that might be a pick for this one. But yeah, 3 seconds for allies, 5 seconds for you. So three condies removed AoE and 5 from you. And you do get that healing component as well. So again, you're going, let's say you're going to heal for 1.2k if you remove 3 conditions. Again, before healing power, before healing modifiers. So you'll get a nifty heal there and a bit of condy removal. Not the most crazy ability in the verse though. This is pretty bog standard, I'd say. Nothing super crazy with that one. Nightmare Weapon. And this is another one that you can combo with Splinter Weapon, right? So here we go. Your strikes steal life from enemies and inflict vulnerability. Grant fewer stacks of this to nearby allies. So 1k damage, it's basically a 1k lifesteal, basically. 3 stacks for allies, and then, I guess 5 for you. Oh yeah, 5 for you. You can see 5 here for you. Again, this is also a defensive tool, right? This will heal all of your allies for 3k. And it will make them all do, it's a bit more, you know, it's like 3.6k, and it will make them all do 3.9k damage to someone. Like, this is actually kind of terrifying in PvP, by the way, because if you can afford to fit this on your bar, I think some of these might be tricky to fit onto the bar in PvP, because Necro utility slots are pretty competitive. Like, you often want to run a lot of stun breaks, but in the universe, where you could actually package this into your bar, you're good, let's say you're next to 2 allies, and then you focus 1 person. That is brutal. That is actually a brutal spike. And I actually really like this type of support build. It kind of reminds me a bit of the Paragon as well. Is that if this was a support build in PvP and you played like a heal support-oriented Ritualist, wow. All of a sudden, you have this super aggressive build that is really participating in combat, which again is something that I think supports in Guild Wars 2 really benefit from. One of the issues with supports in the game has always been they're very passive, very me put green number, do Z DPS, and run around in circles, which is kind of lame, to be honest. And also is kind of unhealthy in Conquest, but that's a conversation for another time. But yeah, that is very juicy with the way that Nightmare Weapon works here. Again, hard to fit on the bar, potentially. Because again, a lot of, if you're playing a support necro, you are going to be, potentially using your utility skills to live. And, well, we haven't even got to the next one yet. But definitely possible, right? You've got tankiness built in from the Shroud, which is going to reduce damage on you and soak up damage. You've got the stability resistance to the Aegis. You've got the preservation for the Prot and the Vigor. You've got blood magic for transfusion. So, it's not impossible. But, oh boy, here we go. Here we go. Weapon of Warding. Weapon spell. Block attacks. Gain protection when the last stack is removed. Grant fewer stacks of this to nearby allies. So you get 3 stacks, and the allies get 1 stack. So this is basically a stun break for you. It's going to give prot to your allies when the stack is removed, and block an attack. Now, that might not seem super impressive. This is basically give Aegis, essentially, in 300 radius. But, look, I think we've got to do a spoiler, because it's worth contextualizing this a little bit. There is a Grandmaster trait that says affected allies receive the full benefit of weapon spells. Oh, yeah. So that means you're going to give 3 blocks to potentially, you and 4 other people. That is a very good effect. That is a very, very good effect alongside some prot and regen. And of course, this will stack with, say, you could also use the Aegis at the same time and, you could, have even more defensive potential. This is a very, very good effect. I want to say particularly in PvP, if you were to use this trait to activate that, because, again, 3 blocks is a significant amount of mitigation. For your nearby allies, and of course, to yourself as well, right? In addition to also being a stun break. So, let's say you're getting focused, you could pop that, stun break out of a stun, block 3 attacks, get a bit of prot. Nice. And also support your allies at the same time. We like that. We definitely like that. But yeah, very powerful effect in my opinion. And finally, we have the Elite. Another iconic one, actually, coming back from Guild Wars 1. We have Zinray's weapon, the Elite. When you take damage over a percentage of your maximum health, heal for the difference. Then steal life from that foe. Grant fewer stacks of this to nearby allies and break them out of stuns. This one is actually an interesting one. Because this... okay, so I've had some clarity on this from the devs. This will only save you if the hit doesn't downstate you. So in other words, let's say you're on 50% HP... and you get hit by an attack that does 51% of your HP, and it downstates you. This won't save you. It will only save you if the initial hit wouldn't kill you, because the order of operations is as follows. Let's say you're on 100% HP, and you take a hit that does 50% of your HP. You take that 50% HP, immediately heal up to 95% HP, so in other words, you take 5% of your HP, and then you lifesteal from the target. So that'll probably put you back up to 100%. So, this is kind of a weird one. It's basically like bad rebound, essentially. Now, you can share 2 stacks of this to your allies. You get 2 by default. If you had Wielder's Boon, that would be 2 stacks to your allies as well. And I almost feel like this is a bit of a confused ability because it's got a lot going on here. It's an AoE stun break. It gives 1 stack of stability. Good. Which is nice. And just having an extra stun break on your Elite is actually kind of nice. Just right off the bat, actually. Because that, in a way, for Necro, this almost feels like an extra utility slot because you could go, oh, I can get away with only running 1 stun break potentially, or, just running Weapon of Warding, maybe Fleshworm Spectral, right? And then I can have Zinray's weapon as like my extra stun break in a way, and then just play with the stability, and I don't need as much of my utility bar committed to stun breaking, basically. And then you've got a bit of sustain attached to that as well, or something. But it's an interesting one. It's a really interesting one. I think it's better in PV. I feel like it's the best in PvP, where you're going to get a lot of value out of potentially like mitigating a big hit. Let's say a big warrior burst skill, a big thief burst coming through, you know, something like that. It's only going to be really effective on really big hits. It will always give you value because you're going to get that lifesteal. It will mitigate, you know, you're very rarely taking less than 5% of your HP in a single hit most of the time. So you'll always get some value out of it. And it will honestly get you out of a tight spot. If you pop this when you're getting focused a bit, it will slow your damage intake and also lifesteal at the same time. So it's not bad. But it's interesting. But yeah, I think they really wanted this to not be really OP in PvE specifically for like skipping raid mechanics. But look, come on guys, can we really use that excuse when we added AoE Distort Share and the Paragon Elite into the game? Oh no. I want to play with this. I want to play with this in the game. I think this might not be super insane compared to some of the elite skills we've had, but it's not bad. It's good and it's got a cool effect, but there's a lot going on. It feels like a couple of things kind of got tacked onto it to try and give it the power budget that it's supposed to have for an elite skill. But cool though, and the icon's really cool as well. The icon is really cool of the thing, where you can kind of see it here, but yeah, it looks pretty cool. The Zinray's weapon. Very exciting. And of course, you can give your allies 2 stacks as well if you give them the Wielder's Boon. Oh man, the traits are really exciting, by the way. Spoiler alert. I feel like I should stall. I'm going to stall so you guys don't even get to see the traits, okay? You know, that's how it is. That's how it should be. Wait, why are you guys putting Wide Stagger in the chat? What the hell is this? But yeah, that's basically all of the weapon skills. Personally, I think really exciting. Really liking the roleplay here on Ritualist, to be honest. Abilities looking good. Weapon skills looking pretty damn nice here as well. I guess I could make a comment. Relatively low radius, only 300. This is another one of those welcome to modern Guild Wars 2 things, but I feel like 360 would be better because welcome to modern Guild Wars 2. You know, when we've got Stability Mantra on Mesmer with having 600 radius, and Herald having 600 radius, I feel like we can be a little bit more generous on some of these application radii for classes, but yep, we'll see. Let's go ahead and move on to the traits, because we've got some pretty damn good ones here. So the first one is just basically explaining what Ritualist does and gives us a quick note that spirits attack every 3 seconds. So we've basically got 2 things going on here. We've got power DPS with explosive growth. So you summon a creature, and that includes minions, by the way. Very fun. You deal damage to enemies around that creature. This will also work on Lich Form, by the way. Summoning all those Giga Minions, you get like a massive spike of damage. That could potentially be exciting, by the way. But yeah, you summon your spirits, you're going to get AoE damage. You summon your minions, you're going to get some AoE damage as well. So potentially like Bone Minions, like spamming Bone Minions could actually be like really big DPS. Especially with Boon of Creation, which is a minor trait that says gain life force when you summon a creature. And again, that's minions and spirits. And this is going to allow you to potentially like sustain yourself while you're in Shroud. Because if you, let's say you have Soul Reaping, that's going to give you even more life force as well. So if you summon all 3 of your spirits, that's going to give you 30% life force right off the bat while you're in Shroud to, again, essentially heal you. Bear that in mind, guys, right? That's essentially healing, right? Because life force is HP while you're in Shroud. But it's also going to allow you to stay in Shroud longer because, again, your spirits disappear when you leave Shroud, unless you've got another Grandmaster trait. But anyway, let's continue. Let's do the power stuff first here. Spirit Strength. Your spirits deal increased damage, and their healing is increased, which is 50% increase. It's pretty nifty. It's actually going to be a good chunk of like free healing, even on kind of a more aggressive build. Again, I think this is very much intended to be your power DPS thing. Your spirits are going to be blasting. And, you know, this is funny. This is kind of funny, though, because Spirit Strength and Ritualists in general might end up being what Necro players have wanted for a long time, which is actually a class where a lot of your damage is coming from summons, right? Either if that's like summoning Bone Minions to blow them up with explosive growth, or having your spirits hard casting and pumping your target, because like again, all three of them will be DPSing, and you know, the more spirits you have up, the more damage you're going to do with your Shroud auto attack as well. A good chunk of your DPS is going to be coming from spirits, which I think is a playstyle that hasn't really existed in Guild Wars 2, right? So I think players are actually going to be really excited with this, right? Because this is very much how it's going to be, especially with the Grandmaster, which is kind of aimed again at this more power damage oriented thing, I think. So lingering spirits persist, and again, excellent design on all of these traits, in my opinion. Loving the Grandmasters in particular. Because look, this flips the script. The mechanic says spirits leave when you leave Shroud. But oh no, how about they don't? So spirits persist when exiting Ritualist Shroud, but continue to drain life force. During this time, spirits attack more rapidly. Life force that is gained during this time will not be consumed by spirits. So basically, they don't want you to be able to do this indefinitely, essentially. And it basically figures out how long they're going to linger, depending on how much life force you've got. So you're not going to be able to like go infinite on this, but it also gives them a very big attack speed increase. It's going to, take 1 second off their attack interval, which is obviously going to massively synergize with Spirit Strength here for more damage at the same time. So you're going to be blasting when you leave Shroud. There's also some synergy there, of course, with Soul Reaping, with Soul Barbs. For when you leave Shroud, you're going to get a damage increase as well. And indeed, while you're in Shroud too. So yep, really cool set of traits there for a power DPS build. Also, kind of interesting to note that it could be a Q DPS build, Q power DPS build, because of Empowering Spirits, which is the quickness trait. Yes, this is going to be a quickness build here. With Empowering Spirits, which says you gain a boon in AoE when you summon a spirit. So Anguish is Might, Wanderlust is Fury, and then Preservation is Resolution, which is kind of filling out the boon application kind of repertoire for Heal Necros, because we've already got Prot from Blood Magic. So Fury, Resolution, and Might being packaged in there is super, super nice. I will actually complain. I will complain about the gameplay here with the boons a bit. This does do something that I'm not the biggest fan of. It kind of pushes you towards spamming and cycling through your abilities a fair bit. And that feels pretty bad to me. Because I think that kind of gameplay is a bit brain dead, to be honest. I get it. It's kind of hard to do it without weapon support, and they're really trying to package a lot of the power into the spec here, because they aren't adding a new weapon to kind of complement this. But yeah, okay. I get it. Like, that's kind of how Guild Wars 2 plays out. I'm not the biggest fan of that. Again, it's a bit degenerate, in my opinion, that you're just going to, hard spam these spirits a fair bit. And that's going to limit your ability to use them reactively. That feels especially bad with Preservation, because it has such a massive heal. I think you probably will be able to just use 2 spirits to apply quickness, and maybe they can even give you a bit more flexibility by increasing that duration a little bit as well. Again, 300 radius. 300 radius, yeah, that's pretty meh. I'd say 360 minimum is probably what needs to happen. Welcome to Modern Guild Wars 2 on that one. And yeah, like the rest of this is fine, I guess, right? You're going to have like Fury sources, you're going to have other Might sources, so you combo that all together, and you're going to be in a good spot, right? You've got Might and Fury from Rupture Anguish, and oh yeah, bit of a bonus meme. It turns out that those F skills are actually so strong that that Ritualist doesn't get a Grandmaster Minor trait. The Grandmaster Minor trait is giving you access to those Rupture abilities, so you don't get another special effect there as well. But that's the situation with that one. And yeah, we can go back and look at the other traits now, because we've got a couple there. Kind of similar to Explosive Growth. We have Spirit's Gift. Heal and remove conditions from allies near you when you summon a creature. 1k healing and 1 condition removed. Of course, that's going to be proccing 3 times when you summon all of your spirits when you go into your Shroud. But again, that also applies for minions. I think there's a particular synergy here with bone minions, because you can delete them and then resummon them very quickly, right? So you're going to be able to activate Spirit's Gift and Explosive Growth pretty frequently by doing that. And that's going to give you 2 activations there. So again, a good chunk of Condi Cleanse. And of course, the extra healing there too. And yep, the final adept, again, really cool one actually. Spirits teleport to you before they perform their auto attack. So this is gonna essentially really help you be super mobile with your spirits. So in addition to summon spirits, you're also gonna have the wandering spirits, so they'll teleport whenever they attack. I also love the icon on this, that you can see a little ghost following you around. Actually, I think it's really fun. There's some good icons here, there really are, with that one. So, yep, I really like that trait design. That's cool. Like, in general, I'm a big fan of how these work. Actually, kind of two flavors of the, you know, opposite sides of the same coin with Explosive Growth and Spirit's Gift. And then Wandering Spirit's kind of more of a utility pick for a bit of mobility, so the spirits can follow you around and you can maintain their effects for longer. And then here in the middle, again, we kind of talked about these two already, so let's talk about Wielder's Remedy. This is very much focused on the weapon spells. Heavy Condi removal. So if you're dealing with big Condi pressure, you can go for this. I think it's in a tough spot to compete, actually. Because, of course, giving AoE boons is really nice. Maybe in PvP, if you're in a heavy condition meta. So PvP or World versus World, having that condition removal is going to be really, really good. It does only remove one Condi. So, I'm not going to lie, that's pretty mediocre, I would say. In terms of the effect compared to the other two. Particularly like Empowering Spirits, obviously really, really good. Like one Condi per weapon spell is, not super impressive, but obviously there's plenty of time for tuning there. And it's also worth noting, by the way, that Wielder's Boon actually causes the condition removal to go up to 2 on allies as well. Like this trait affects this trait, right? So you get the full benefit of weapon spells, including Wielder's Remedy. So there is that little bit of built-in synergy, which is going to kind of help out there. A little bit with how the condition removal ends up operating there. And then, of course, that kind of takes us to the Grandmasters. And yeah, Wielder's Boon, I've been pretty excited about this one already. And I think all of these are really exciting because they're very different. They create very different play styles. And I really like the design on all of them, actually. And of course, come on, soul twisting here at the bottom, guys. What a lovely reference, okay, to Guild Wars 1. We absolutely love to see that, do we not? But yeah, Wielder's Boon. Affected allies receive the full benefit of weapon spells. We talked about this before, but that's going to give you 2 stacks of Zinray's weapon. It's going to give you 3 of these blocks from Weapon of Warding and also increase the regeneration duration. It's going to give you 5 stacks of that Nightmare weapon for big lifesteal. So again, like 5 stacks of a 1k lifesteal. Dude. Like, again, imagine the scenario. You're in PvP. You've got 2 allies next to you. You pop a Wielder's Boon Nightmare weapon. That's an extra 5,000, 6,000 even, armor ignoring damage on everyone. And you can focus one target. That's crazy. Like, how do you live that? You're just going to get completely fucking nuked. And you're also applying vulnerability at the same time. Like, very strong effect. Yeah, and it's lifesteal, right? It's lifesteal. So you're also healing all of those allies at the same time. Again, I imagine this will be less aggressively tuned in PvP, obviously. But yeah, like, this trait is very good. It's simple, you know, and that's kind of the beauty of it. It's a very simple effect. You just get that full benefit, but it is powerful. Same with Splinter Weapon. Same with Resilient Weapon, right? Like, getting that duration. It's doubling the healing, basically, that you give to allies. And, of course, doubling the duration of the damage reduction that you give to allies. Again, very powerful. Like, this heal skill is juiced as hell. Like, in PvP, especially in PvP, but in every game mode, like World vs. World and PvE, like, the fact that the healing goes up by 50% when you're below 50% health, that is very good. It's real good. Because it means that when people need it the most, this spell is going to be there for them, right? This spell will be carrying them with that 20% damage reduction. And also a really strong healing effect. And yeah, Wielder's Boon is really going to let you kind of lean into that. And I can, you know, especially if you're picking that talent, I can 100% see you like using a lot of these skills, getting that condition removal, getting that warding, Nightmare weapon, Zinray's weapon, right? Super powerful. You know what I would almost like to see on Zinray's weapon? So here's a thought. Zinray's weapon was actually a very short cooldown elite in Guild Wars 1. Here it is, and you can see the inspiration, right? For 8 seconds, the next time target ally takes damage from a foe that's limited to 5%, that damage is limited to 5%, and they get 80 lifesteal. I wonder if there's a version of this that could have a very short cooldown. Or maybe ammo, even. You'd obviously have to get rid of the stun break and the stability, and, like, just have the core effect. But I'd be interested to see what that would look like. If it had, like, a relatively short cooldown, like 20 seconds or something. That would honestly probably start getting a little bit busted, but like I wonder what that would look like. So you could kind of maintain that flavor there. Because yeah, this is the only part of the kit that I'm not super in love with, you know, is the elite. And I do love an elite skill, so I'm just wondering like what that could look like if it was maybe more in line with how it was in Guild Wars 1 and just kind of cut some of the because look, I'm pretty sure they just said, look, fuck it. Give it a stun break and stability, and then we hope for the best. But yeah, we'll see how that one goes out. Yeah, Lingering Spirits, we saw this one. It actually looks really cool. I kind of want to show it real quick, because of course they go over this stuff in the game. Show these lovely, lovely traits. So here you go. You can see that we go into Shroud to summon the spirits. Here they come. 1, 2, and 3. And then we leave Shroud, and they're still here. And in fact, they will then increase their attack speed and do even more DPS. Now, you have got to bear in mind, you've got to focus them on the right target. You can see the Wanderlust Spirit is kind of attacking the wrong golem, so you do want to use that Essence Burst to make them attack the right target. Although, actually, I think they're supposed to be attacking the right target. I'm not sure if it's working quite right, because I think one of them has the mark. Oh, maybe it's like the one in the middle or something. I don't know, but they're not attacking the same one, but I think they should be. Doesn't matter. Either way, you can see that these spirits are blasting. You can see the life force here on the Necromancer draining away. So again, you're going to be able to do this for a long time. You could potentially, of course, re-enter Shroud to resummon the spirits, because again, you're going to get damage from that explosive growth doing that. But you can do, a proper rotation, right? You can do a full weapon skill rotation, and your spirits are still going to be DPSing the entire time, dealing heavy damage to your target. And of course, they could even be following you, right? Like outside of Shroud, right? You can see the toolkit here, right? Wandering Spirits, the Spirit Damagey one, and Lingering Spirits, and then they'll follow you out. They'll follow you outside of Shroud. How cool is that, right? You can see, look, they're following him around outside of Shroud because he's got Wandering Spirits and Lingering Spirits on. How exciting is that? And yeah, you can see this is like pretty obvious how this is going to operate. And again, this is showing the cap duration, right? Like they were like, oh, well, we're not going to let you do that forever. It basically figures out how long it should last based on how much life force you've got. And yeah, we kind of went over that before, but yeah, that's what that one looks like. Really fun trait, really exciting in my opinion. And then of course, it's back. Soul Twisting. And I love how they captured the spirit of Soul Twisting, because this is very similar to how Soul Twisting basically says the next spirit you use recharges instantly and costs less energy. But of course, energy isn't a thing in Guild Wars 2. But you can see that's basically the same effect here. The first spirit you use when entering Ritualist Shroud recharges instantly. And that is just a cool effect. It's going to help you generate more boons with Empowering Spirits if you're going that way. It's also going to allow you to double detonate. Right? Because bear in mind, if it recharges instantly, you'll be able to rupture twice, potentially. Right? And it will automatically rupture if you just go for a double summon. But you can get double effect, it can be double prot, vigor, healing, condy removal, it can be double CC, it can be double damage, right? With anything you want to do. And bear in mind, Anguish, this one, this ability here, the attack on the Anguish, or maybe the Ritualist attack, it's going to have all of the trait interactions, so you're going to have Corrupt Boon there. Preservation's going to activate Chillblains, so you can do a double Chillblains. With Transfusion, right? All that good stuff. You know, the possibilities, my friends, they are absolutely endless. They really, really are. So yeah, super exciting set of Grandmaster traits, in my opinion. Like, all doing completely different things, enabling different builds, different playstyles. Big fan of this. Really big fan of this. Big fan of Ritualist overall. Yeah, I actually was... It was one of the ones that I was like, oh, okay. Really want to see what's going on there. Want to see the weapon skills. I was... obviously excited because it's a cool RP and it's Necro as well, kind of a support style Necro, which obviously, people know I love that stuff, right? But yeah, this has really exceeded my expectations. I'm liking the design on this a lot. Seems powerful too. Seems like it's going to work in all game modes, which I think is, again, really hype. I think the PvPers are already quaking in fear. of this one, that's for sure. But yeah, that's it. That is the Ritualist. Very excited to get my hands on this one. Very excited to see what balance changes might happen. Oh, look at that Zinray weapon icon, right? Look at that. I love the artwork on this. That's the Nightmare weapon icon. It's kind of like horrifying eye. Splinter weapon there, of course. Weapon of renewal in there. Weapon of warding also is like a really cool candle icon. And yeah, look at this. You can see soul twisting. Look, it's twisting, right? How good is that? Good icons overall. Necro is based as usual. No surprises there. Okay, we are so back. Support Necro stocks are up. Necro mains. You can actually be a minion lord. Dude, everyone wins here. You can be heal Necro. You can be minion lord. This is crazy. I actually will end this with a little bit of commentary on it giving quickness. I actually find that really interesting. And, okay, we thought about this in the initial playthrough. Do you guys realize what this build giving quickness means? I don't think people have actually realized this. You can run double heal Ritualist, okay, in your squad, open world group, raid group, strike group. And then you can run double Scourge as well. And Scourge gives the alacrity. And it can be the forbidden one. You can basically run 4 heal Necros pretty efficiently in your group. My only fear here is that this build will be overshadowed as a healer by Troubadour because of how powerful the elite skill is on Troubadour. But we'll have to see how the balance obviously turns out there as well, like what the tuning looks like, what boon durations look like, and how this build actually functions. But that just sounds insane. Like, double heal Rit, double Celestial Scourge just sounds unstoppable, to be honest. You're going to have 4 transfusions, so 4 sets of heals, infinite prot, infinite sustain, barrier from the Scourges, infinite might, infinite Condi cleanse, Zinray's weapon, blocks coming out your ass. You can have the snake. You can have weapon of warding. You can have insane damage reduction. You can have 4 blood res traits as well. I mean, I want to tell you. Yeah, infinite stability, infinite lifesteal, Scourge portal. Like, the CC is going to be good too. Packaging Flesh Golem on the Scourges, right? Spectral Grasp. Right, this is wild, and the CC is decent here too, right? Like Wanderlust is nice. Wanderlust is nice, guys, because you got the daze here and the knockdown and the soft CC at the same time. I mean, holy shit, guys, this is another level of forbidden Scourge. It's Necrometa, right? That's what this is, and yeah, the boons are going to be good. That's for sure. I mean, you could even run this. You could even run like quadruple Celestial. Like, that's not out of the question, by the way, guys. You could run 4 hybrids. I could actually see 4 hybrids kind of being a thing with this setup. I think you could cook something like that to generate some DPS. The only downside is that this build might not hybridize super well because there's not a lot of Condi support on it. So that would be weird. There's like no, it's very power oriented. So you might have to lean into that so that the damage may not turn out super great. We'll have to see, of course. But yeah, this is going to be hype, guys. Ritualist is logged in. This is it. Omega Necro is here. I'm not even sure I want to ask for comments on this YouTube video. I'm not sure I do, guys. I'm really not sure I do. Because I've said it all, okay? You know, there's nothing else to say. Like, I might as well disable the comments. Like, log in, right? That's my only comment on this. But yeah, this is pretty cool. Love the RP. I think the aesthetic's good. I like the spells. I like the traits. Maybe a little bit of a recook on Zinray's weapon, potentially, because I think this is a really cool, iconic ability. So I'd love to see maybe something done with that. But, you know, we'll have to see. You know, test it in the beta, right? See how it plays out. All that kind of good stuff. Hype in every game mode. Incredible kit. Ritualist. It's here. In 1080p. But yeah, that actually concludes my deep dive on the Ritualist for Guild Wars 2, Visions of Eternity. Look, this Okay, this, my friends, is some pre-order fuel, okay? Like, everyone's, like, in despair about Antiquary, okay? Although, maybe they shouldn't be. Honestly, you shouldn't be. You should watch my video on that. But listen, guys, it is time. Pre-order Visions of Eternity using my referral link. Link is spammed everywhere. You really can't miss it. Follow, subscribe, like the video, leave comments, leave my comments. Well, honestly, you should like roleplay a Paragon and echo everything I just said, because my opinion is correct. But yep, leave your comments, watch all my other deep dives, watch all my streams, subscribe on YouTube, follow on Twitch, follow my social media. Let me know what you think. Are you hyped up for the Ritualist? Are you hyped up for something else? Okay, let me know what's going on there. Where is our energy at for these elite specializations? Stay tuned for more, of course. One more week, and then it's into the beta the week after the next week. So stay tuned. And I do have to mention this. I've got to actually help out the devs here. Look, let me tell you this, guys. The devs said that next week is going to be big. Oh, yeah. They said that NG, Ellie, and Rev are going to go hard. That's a quote from Trig. He said that. He dropped that at the end of the stream. He said, next week is huge. Next week is massive. Do I need to say anything else? I don't think so. So definitely stick around for that one. I'll, of course, be covering everything to do with those elite specializations, and indeed everything to do with Visions of Eternity. So stay around, guys. Thanks for watching. Like, comment, subscribe, referral link. Come back and watch. And of course, thanks for watching. I'll see you next time.